Yes, hey, this is Kevin. I'm going to put up two more armies for you. This time it's a little bit different for me. It's in 10 millimeter, and we're going to talk about the War of the Spanish Succession, which I have to say is very confusing even for me. I fell in love with this period, living in Bavaria for many years, having gone to the Battle of Blenheim, and just hanging out around Belgium and Holland and moving around. You can't escape it. This conflict was very, very complicated, and in essence it was a dispute over who was going to sit on the Spanish throne. But ultimately, the ultimate outcome was how Europe was going to be partitioned and how the balance of power would be maintained inside Europe. And it is extremely confusing, I have to say. I've read about it many times, and even so, it really is difficult to grasp. But I have to say, when you've got a participant, to me, it's almost like the first global conflict that we've ever had. Because the participants were, France at the height of Louis XIV, and Queen Anne of England, and you had Leopold of Austria, the Habsburgs, and Bavaria, and the Holy Roman Empire, and Portugal and Spain, and it bled all the way over into the Great Northern War, and great battles like the Battle of Blenheim, Malplaquet, Oudenarde, and Ramillies. Just fantastic. You've got wonderful key people that came up through this. Eugene of Savoy, Frederick I, Louis XIV, John Churchill, the first Duke of Marlborough. I mean, this is the time of the lace wars, of what we think about that. And I have to say, it is a fantastic read, and it really is I would say, the setup of postmodern Europe. And so with no further ado, I want to take you into the armies that I've built, which were in 10 millimeter. I wanted to try to grasp the grandeur and the size of a conflict. And so each army in their own right is pretty large. So let's take a look at them. Yes, hello. Well, I'm going to put up the Allied army of the War of the Spanish Succession. You can see this is also a very, very large army. And it is almost the same size as the French. So it has about 30 battalions of foot and about 28 to 30 battalions or squadrons of cavalry. Plenty of artillery that can be shared on both sides. Probably about 14 batteries. But anyway, the Allied side is very, very interesting. I'll start on this side. Once again, it's the same as the French. It's a 40 by 20 basing. And these are from Pendragon, 10 millimeter. It's the only 10 millimeter army that I have. It's really, outside of my norm. But anyway, the Austrians, I've got Eugene of Savoy here, and then four different Austrian commanders, either brigade or division level. I have a unit of hussars, 4 units of heavy cav and cuirass, and then 2 of heavy cav or dragoons. Whichever one you want to use them for. It's really kind of hard to tell at that small scale. You can just say what you want. But I think that they turned out very, very nicely. It's also done with a lot of research. For an example, this here is the Nerchi group division. This one here is the Visotti. This one here is the Ulfeld. This battalion here is the Lothringen. And so it's really quite nice. When you get over to the there's 10 battalions of infantry, and each one has its own designation and where its city, where it came from, etc. So I think it really turned out quite lovely. Okay, the next group here are the Danish and the Dutch and various German states, and tried my best to just kind of, it's like a catch-all for just different nations, and I tried to really create more of an allied feel of having different types of units available, different colors, which I think is really classic of the period. So I've got several units of cavalry, and mostly just heavy cavalry. Some are clash of steel, and some are parochial cavalry. But nonetheless, I think it turned out pretty nice. So I think the differences in the armies are quite fascinating, to be honest. So the different fighting styles as I'm reading. So anyway, I think Pendragon has some nice looking figures, and they turned out pretty well. There's not a lot of different poses, as you can imagine. It's not 25s or 28s or 15s, but I think that you get this mass feel. And over here we move to the Germans, to the Prussians, and I think they turned out really nice. So I'm quite happy with how they turned out. They look very Prussian-esque, very uniformed and tight, and I really like that kind of a look. And of course the artillery trains. Then we get over to the Brits, to the Duke of Marlborough. That is him right there. That's the Duke, and Sir John Churchill. And I've got several different commanders, 3 or 4, and yeah, the British are equally very tight. I like the figures. I tried to paint different regiments that I thought looked cool, kind of give a little bit of a variation on the battlefield, and there's different kinds of cavalry, different kinds of looks, and yeah, I think, as you can see, I tried my best at this particular scale. It was a real learning curve, I have to admit. I couldn't imagine doing 6mm. That would probably put me into an early grave. But I think that the 10mm looks great, and yeah, we're gonna meet up, use these armies, and we're going to fight a very cool campaign, of which I'll do a show about here pretty soon. But I think they turned out okay. I mean, I could have done maybe an extra layer of flesh tones, but it really doesn't need to. The rifles came out nice, and I think it's a good representation of that time period. Anyway, I hope that you like it. I think they're a lot of fun. We're going to see how it feels to play with them on the field of battle. And yeah, we'll just do our best. We've never had a game with 10mm, but you can see that the table, at least this is a 5x7 with 2 wings that can be clapped up this way. See, so those can be clapped up to make a 9x5.5 table. So I think for these particular figures, they should fill the table and will be a smashing game. Well, inevitably, somebody's going to ask me about the units. So they are about 10 figures to a stand and 4 stands to a unit. So about 40 figures. So each battalion is 40, with officers and flags, etc. And the cavalry is about the same. It's about 8 figures to a stand and 4 stands. So as you can see from that, it's 32 figures for a unit. So they're pretty large. Well, that's 4, 8, 16, 20, so 24 cav to a unit, sorry. And the British are a little bit less. They're 8 figures to a stand, to kind of show that they had not 3 lines, but 2 lines, and a little bit less, because they did platoon firing. Well, anyway, leave some comments for me below what you think. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Allied portion of a 10mm army for the War of the Spanish Succession. And if you have any ideas how I can make it better, or add to it, or anything at all, just put it in the comments and let me know. Thanks.